Getting unstuck from a fat loss plateau is actually really very easy. So in this video, I'm going to break down the exact step-by-step process of why you're probably stuck in your fat loss plateau and why you probably haven't seen very much progress in the last couple months, maybe even years, right? So if you guys are new to this channel, what's going on? My name's Adam. I'm an online fitness professional. I help career-driven men break fat loss plateaus using metabolic priming. It's a process of metabolism manipulation, and I've worked with over 50 men in the past, and I've lost over 400 pounds with my clients just in the last 6 months alone, right? So here's, a quick breakdown of all of my clients that I've been working with for the past 6 months, and we've collectively have lost almost 400 pounds eating more food, like Devin right here, down 35 pounds eating 1,300 more calories, right? Or Phil, 1,200 calories more per day, 50 pounds down. So if you guys are new to this channel, you don't know who I am, there's going to be a video pinned in my YouTube channel, which is going to kind of give you an all-in-depth breakdown about who I am, what my program is capable of, what my program is capable of giving its clients. And there's also going to be a link in the description down below to sign up for my one-to-one call, like a one-to-one call with me and a consultation with me, so we can kind of sit down and we can kind of figure out what's going wrong with you. We can get you on your way. We can get you rocking. Okay. But in this video, we're actually just going to, pull back the curtain and kind of just figure out, why you're stuck in your fat loss plateau, what you can do to fix it, and kind of the action steps going forward of, what we can do to get you unstuck from that fat loss plateau, right? So most of you are probably in the position right now where you've been doing tons of cardio. You've been eating very low amounts of food, and you just can't figure out, one, why you can't get unstuck. And you're not alone. There's tons of people out there that are going through the exact same thing as you, and you've probably even tried like keto. You've probably tried, one-size-fits-all programs from, your local trainer, or like even an online program, and you've probably tried like intermediate fasting and stuff like that. So all that stuff is great, and all that stuff is fantastic to help you make the initial progress. But like, you're not a beginner, right? You got discipline, you got a job, you know how to eat healthy, you don't have bad vices, and you're pretty consistent, and you don't make excuses, and you can follow a proven plan, right? So I don't necessarily work with beginners, just like a quick heads up. Like, I don't really necessarily work with beginners. I work with financially stable men who are actually serious about getting unstuck from their fat loss plateau and can follow a plan to actually achieve their dream body. So most of the people that I currently work with are right in this area, right? They eat healthy, they're highly motivated, they got work ethic, they're disciplined, they can follow a plan, they believe in themselves, and you're financially stable and got a good career, right? So the cons to where you're at right now is you're stuck. You just don't know where to go. You're frustrated. You've tried the low-carb diets, you've tried the keto diets, you've tried fasting, and it just doesn't give you sustainable results, and it just makes you feel terrible at the end of the day. So there's a better way to go about it, and, it's not your fault. It's not your fault that you were taught wrong by, like, social media and kind of one-size-fits-all program, because you're a little bit more advanced than that, right? You're right in that area where you got almost 80% of it figured out, but that last 20% is kind of holding you back, and I totally get it, right? You've probably heard of somebody in your immediate family or any of your friends who drops their calories about 1,200 to 1,500 calories, and they lose a bunch of weight really, really fast, right? So what they do, they think they found the cure to fat loss. First of all, they lose like 20 pounds and then they get stuck, right? And then you see them a month later and they're right back where they started, right? So I'm actually going to break down why why that's happening to them, and like kind of how we can go about it better and how we can go about it differently. So using my process of metabolic priming, you'll never have to be stuck in a fat loss plateau again. Never have to know which direction to go again. You never have to be scared of carbohydrates again, and you'll never have to try some unsustainable diet ever again, right? So before we get into it, I just want to state that, first of all, if you are one of the ones have been stuck in a fat loss plateau and you're just frustrated, right? You try the same diet every single summer, you get half-ass results, and you just kind of bounce back afterwards. That's okay. It's not your fault. You just don't know better, right? So I'm going to break down exactly why that's the case. So stick around for the full video, and we're going to kind of break everything down. I'm going to reveal the curtain. I'm just going to, add as much value for you guys as I possibly can to help you out in your current situation, right? So to kind of break down where you're probably at right now is that, point one, you're probably eating very low amounts of calories. You're probably under the 2,000 calorie range. And you're probably maybe even doing a bunch of cardio, right? So what you've actually done to your body is actually you've slowed your metabolism down to the point where it's no longer burning calories. You're now in energy conservation mode instead of energy burning mode, right? To kind of break that down, I have a little bit of a breakdown about how your metabolism works with the basal metabolic rate. So 60% of your metabolism is made up of basal metabolic rate, which means that 60% of your entire metabolism is just essential body functions, right? So if you're eating low enough calories to where your body actually thinks that it's not getting enough food to actually supply your basal metabolic rate, it'll start to lower your metabolism in anticipation of you actually starving, right? And that's not what we want to do, right? That's not how we want to go about dieting, right? So to kind of break it down further, it comes in the process of what metabolic adaptation is, like the process of how the body uses and burn energy is kind of your metabolism. And then metabolic adaptation is also called adaptive thermogenesis or diet fatigue, which means that your body has adjusted to the amount of calories you've been eating over an amount of time, and you've actually slowed your metabolism. So food scarcity today in this form comes in the form of actual caloric restriction. People trying to get lean, people trying to get in shape for summer, people trying to get in the point where they could take their shirt off at the pool and stuff and be happy with the way they look, and they going about it too strong, and they just kind of simply crash your metabolism, right? So I'm going to break down the 3 reasons why you're probably stuck at where you're at, and then we're going to cover exactly how you can get unstuck. And I'm going to show you the exact process of how I got unstuck and the process that I learned through going through metabolic adaptation, learning metabolic adaptation, how I succumbed that, and then how I'm actually able to sustain my body today and having my a pretty dang good physique myself. Okay. So the first reason is that you're probably not tracking your calories, right? You probably don't know how many calories you actually need to eat to, actually lose weight. So if you're not tracking your calories, first of all, that's probably where we need to start, is learn tracking calories. And even on a more specific basis is actually track macronutrients, right? So tracking macronutrients will give your body exactly pinpointing what it needs to actually make changes very, very fast, right? It's like hitting the bullseye on the macronutrient dial, right? So a lot of people are under the impression that, making this kind of progress or making progress happens very slowly, and that's simply just not true, right? So tracking macros in general is going to help you, pinpoint what your body needs to sustain your metabolism, to build muscle, to grow, and to also lose weight and build muscle simultaneously, right? So when we talk about building muscle and losing weight simultaneously, what we're necessarily doing is, we're giving your body the correct macronutrient it needs to grow your muscles and to actually get rid of any body fat in the process, right? So for instance, like I said, a lot of people think that this process or losing weight happens very slowly, you maybe not you may be under the impression that it's going to take a long time, and that's not true, right? So some of my clients right here, Jake, is down 10 pounds in the first 2 weeks, eating 300 more calories. My other client, Jake, down 14 pounds, eating 400 more calories in the first month. 150 more calories per day. And, for my other client, Mason, who's 10 pounds down. And then even, Byron right here, 1,200 more calories per day, 15 pounds down. And then Dan, 650 more calories per day, 10 pounds down, right? So once your body gets the correct macronutrient it needs, it makes changes very fast. So the first thing you want to do is really dial in your macronutrient intake, right? Make sure that you are getting your body enough nutrition to supplement hormones, to supplement muscle growth, and to supplement fat loss in the process. So really dialing in your macronutrients is going to be super specific and super beneficial for learning, and also learning overall nutrition in general. So making sure you track your macronutrients. I personally use MyFitnessPal, and I have my clients do the exact same. Is going to be very beneficial for your fat loss goals, and maybe one of the reasons why you're actually stuck is that you just don't necessarily have the correct calories or the correct macronutrients, right? So the second reason that you're probably stuck is that, like I said, you're probably doing tons of cardio and you're probably eating low amounts of food, right? So your body's overgoing what's called adaptive thermogenesis or diet fatigue, which means you lowered your calories too low, your metabolism has kind of slowed over time, and your body has turned to energy conserving mode instead of energy burning mode. So we need to get your body back into energy burning mode, right? So to properly do that correctly, first of all, you need to cut your cardio, right? So cardio, for instance, doing too much cardio while your BMR is successfully lowered over time is not only going to cause inflammation in your body, unwanted inflammation from overstress, it's going to hold on to your weight. So if you in the process right now that maybe you have poor digestion, you feel bloated, you feel tired, you feel weak, you have low sex drive, and there's a bunch of other, quick signs that is going to explain kind of why that, you're doing too much cardio, you're eating not enough amount of food, and a weight loss plateau, depression, fatigue, can't concentrate, low energy, insulin resistance, no sex drive, increased appetite, bad skin, and bloated, right? So for instance, you can't concentrate, right? So your basal metabolic rate actually One, it supplies how you think. It supplies cognitive function and organ function, right? So if your basal metabolic rate is not getting enough food to supply what it needs, your cognitive functions will actually lower, right? So I have many of my clients, like, most of my clients are working class professionals. They're financially stable men who already know how to know how to eat healthy, know how to go to the gym and make time for the gym. They just don't necessarily have the last 20% of what they actually need, right? Like for Devin right here, he lost 35 pounds eating 1,300 more calories, right? And so for Devin right here, he was doing tons of cardio. He was doing way too much cardio. He was eating low amounts of food, and he has actually accrued a bunch of inflammation in the process. And so, we had to, get his body back into energy burning mode, right? So for Devin here, he works in finance, right? So he works a high stress job, right? He's busy all the time. So we had to really create a plan that worked best for him and create a structure that worked best for him to, be able to supply everything that his body needs as for good nutrition and good exercise and whatnot. But like to break down the cognitive function for Devin, once we were able to actually get his body into actual good state and good cognitive function, he was able to get an actual promotion very fast within his job, right? So he actually is working his way up in his industry very fast just because, one, the confidence he has, two, the cognitive function that actual good nutrition is giving him, and three, he just looks a lot better because he's actually getting proper nutrition, right? Or my client Phil, who's down 50 pounds eating 1,200 more calories, right? So Phil works as a medical professional, right? He works, he works cases all day. He has a very busy schedule, so we had to really dial in his schedule for him, find out what works for him, and he's actually getting promoted, within his industry as well, just because he has good cognitive function, he has more confidence, and, that's the importance of, one, making sure that your body's in good shape, right? Because like I said, I work with financially stable men, high-class men, and very, working-class men. And so developing a schedule for you, having proper nutrition, having proper cognitive function as well is really beneficial for you, your job, your income, your family, your mood, your depression, all in general, right? So that's the second thing that you're probably doing wrong with your fat loss plateau, right? You're just simply not getting enough food and you're doing way too much cardio, right? So let's take it like kind of a break right here, and let's kind of explain why you're at where you're at, right? So a lot of people where they've been eating very low amounts of calories already, and they've been doing tons of cardio already. They want to lose weight, right? And you're probably sitting there right now thinking, "This is me. I want to lose weight. I've been trying super hard." Well, listen up, because I'm literally about to change the way you look at it, right? So right now you're right here, right? You're eating about a little over 2,000 calories, maybe a little bit under. You may be doing zero cardio, or maybe you've been doing 40 minutes, right? So you want to go into a fat loss phase, right? You want to get leaner, you want to get shredded for summer, you want to be able to take your shirt off at the beach, you want to take your shirt off at the pool, you want to go to barbecues and be the guy that's, grilling with his shirt off, looking good, feeling handsome. So you're starting to go into a fat loss phase. You're trying to lower your calories, add some cardio so you can get leaner for the summer. And so you've already been eating very low amounts of calories, right? So one, what happens if you try to lower your calories? Right? Now you're at from 21 to 2,000 to 1,800. Try to raise your cardio. You're at 50, and then you have to go to 60, all while your BMR is almost negative, right? So, you kind of understand how you're capped with the actual resources and tools that you need to actually lose weight, right? So in an instance, you want to get your BMR higher, right? To fix this, if you're in the position, you want to get your BMR higher, you want to get your body into energy burning mode before you go into your fat loss phase, right? So for instance, for my clients, using my Metabolic Priming Blueprint that I've designed that's kind of all around based around metabolic priming, which is hormonal priming and body recomposition, what we do for the first 8 weeks is, one, we raise the food, right? And I know you're probably thinking, and you're probably really skeptical right now. You're like, what do you mean? I'm raising my food? I want to lose weight. Let me explain, right? So one, we start working these calories up very slowly. We cut the cardio, but we start working the calories up, right? And now we are supplying your BMR. We're getting your body back into energy burning mode from energy conserving mode, right? So now from 2,100 calories, one, you have good macronutrients, you're tracking your calories, and now we're working your body up in a metabolic priming phase to really prime your metabolism and get your body ready for a fat loss phase, instead of going right into a fat loss phase and being capped with the amount of resources that you can work with, right? So we're raising your calories, we get to 26, get to 28, And this is basically dependent on exactly what my client needs for in general, what you need for in general. Can't really tell you like the baseline for how many calories that you need to be going up, but we do it very slowly to simulate BMR and to also grow muscle mass in the process, right? So like for instance, like a great example is this right here. So if you're listening to this and you're probably like stuck in that skinny fat phase where like you don't got the muscle, you just got that lower ab fat and those love handles that are just kind of like stubborn, they won't go away. It's because you don't have the muscle mass that pushes against your skin, right? Take bodybuilders in off season, for example. They have beautiful abs. Well, why is that, right? Well, they have the muscle mass and the muscle maturity to be at a higher body fat percentage and look leaner, right? For instance, like this picture, 15% body fat at 150 versus 15% body fat at 180. Completely different look because the actual body fat has a larger surface area to spread around to make you appear leaner, right? So what we do is, one, if you're stuck right now in the lower calorie range doing tons of cardio, you need to cut your cardio, start working your calories up, and really focus on muscle growth, right? Focus on growing your muscle, getting that muscle tight. And like a great example for one of my clients is like Steven. I have many clients that we've done this for. Like 18 pounds up, but he's much tighter and we got rid of his skinny fat, right? 900 more calories per day. Or Mason, same weight, 1,300 more calories per day. Here's the data to prove it. But he's much tighter and he's much leaner because we leaned him out, we grew him into his muscle, we grew him into the skin, and now he has more muscle maturity that protrudes more, and you can actually see his abs better, right? Or Connor, right? 13 pounds up in his growing phase, right? And he says, I can't believe how fast I've grown, how easy the whole plan is to follow. Or Christian, 15 pounds up, 1,000 more calories, right? And he's even like was stating that he thought it was going to be like super, intense and like he was not going to work around his busy work schedule because he works at an exotic car dealership and he sells cars for 10 to 12 hours a day. So he was like, very skeptical about how this process would work and how dialing his macronutrients down in his training would work with his high stress job. But he says the sliding right into my daily life and just becoming it and happening really fast, right? So like I said, it happens really fast too. Like once you get the correct inputs, the correct outputs automatically come, right? Because with the correct inputs, the correct outputs follow naturally, right? When your body gets exactly what it needs, it looks a lot better naturally, right? And so like for Christian here, like I said, he works very long hours at a car dealership, and like he's moving up in his profession really fast, right? I think he just like had a record month for like the cars that he sold, just because he said that he like just feels more energy, right? Because you're going to have more energy because your body's going to be getting supplied what it needs. You're going to have better cognitive function. You're going to be able to, make more money, have more time for your job, and have more time for the structure that follows like living a healthy lifestyle. Because living a healthy lifestyle, like it's a gateway drug, right? Because once you figure out the discipline and once you figure out like really the feeling of feeling better with proper nutrition and the actual proper nutrition you need, like you're going to start like seeing your life revolve because you're going to have more energy, you're going to have more confidence, you're going to feel better. And at the end of the day, like wouldn't it be much, much nicer not have to eat little to no calories? I think Christian's eating like 350, 400 carbs per day. If you're sitting here right now and you're eating like under 100 grams of carbs, and like this is like your third summer in a row, cutting your carbs, getting ready for summer, and now you're under 100 carbs, you're starving, you're hungry, you're tired, your cognitive function's like absolutely terrible, and you still hate the way you look, like this should make you mad because you've been going about it wrong. But it's not your fault because you just don't know any better, right? And the thing is that not a lot of people do. Because like we talked about, you're not somebody who is a total beginner, right? You're not somebody who's tried this for the first time. Because the keto, fasting, low carb, that's great for people who are just getting into it. It's great for people who are just getting started. But you're well more advanced than that. You're a little bit farther along than that. And so, it doesn't make sense for you to follow a one-size-fits-all program and expect progress, right? So dialing in your macronutrients, really getting your macronutrients and your calories in there, working your body out of a starvation mode into an energy burning mode by building more muscle and adding more volume of food, and eating more carbohydrates, because who doesn't love eating more carbohydrates? I know I personally do. And the third reason, right? The third reason, and that's what it brings it all in a circle, right? You need to stop trying these one-size-fits-all programs, right? The one-size-fits-all programs, the ones that you like search on the web, you search YouTube, you search, maybe ask your personal trainer friend at the gym, or even like, ask like a coach out there that like kind of gives you a vague idea of what to do, right? you're not going to make sustainable progress because it's not exactly what your body and like you physically need, right? Because these one-size-fits-all programs are for the majority. And if you want to be outside of the majority and you want to have a dream body, you need to be thinking outside of the majority, which getting a personal plan that's tailored to you, to what your body needs, and to what your body needs to actually grow muscle, right? So like, for instance, like I have been literally exactly where you're at for, a good 5 years of my life, right? Like this was me when I started as a total beginner. Like I didn't have a job. I wasn't very consistent. I was honestly struggling with vices like drinking, drugs and, stuff that wasn't really any healthy for what I was doing, which is like kind of why I don't really work with these people. But like I spent a lot of my time right here in almost 3 years in this range, right? Where, I had all the pros. I had all the pros. And I had 80% of it figured out. And you're probably right there right now thinking you've got 80% of it figured out. But listen, this 20% will keep you back for your entire life, right? Trust me, because I know, right? So like right now, like the cons of what you're going through right now is like you're trying new diets every month. You're stuck in a fat loss plateau. You're scared of carbohydrates. You're trying new diets. You're lost. You're confused. You don't know how to track macros. You hate the way you look. You have terrible energy, bad relationship with food. You're starving. You're doing tons of cardio, right? And trust me, like I have been there, right? So this is kind of where I started my fitness journey at 225. I got pretty low in calories, and then I just kind of plateaued, right? Kind of just fell off. And then I went even harder, and I added cardio. Now look how like frail and skinny I was. And I was also starving, right? And then guess what happened 2 months later? I blew up, right? Because I had created an insulin resistance, which is like a very sensitive body to carbohydrates. And so like as soon as I started adding food and like kind of eating more freely, I just blew up like a balloon. Right? So if that's happened to you before, like I really want to make sure that you dial in and listen to this because we're going to fix this. Okay. So next I went into another, crazy cut my calories super low, and I did pretty well this time, but I was literally starving. I was doing tons of cardio. I think I was doing an hour of cardio, eating like 1,600 calories. I was starving. And I had terrible energy. I had insomnia. I couldn't sleep. And like, I just did not feel very good, and then like, at the same time, like lost a ton of muscle mass. Like just look like how frail I am. Right. And then guess what happened 2 months later? I went back and I did it again, right back to where I started. So, what I had to do at this point is I had to like tell myself, because like at this point I had already spent 3 years of my life like trying to figure it out. So what I did is I actually invested my money into a mentorship to kind of learn more about how the body works, how hormones work, and actually like got myself an actual coach in the process that's going to teach me the correct way to do this. And literally everything just clicked. And within 5 months, like this is 5 months, and here I got the transformation right here. In 5 months, I was able to go from 225 to 173, right? Competed in 2 bodybuilding shows, won one of them, and like was able to make progress really fast, right? Now you're probably thinking like, didn't you like rebound again? No, right? Now that I did it correctly this time using metabolic priming and using the correct inputs and having the correct guidance to follow, this is me 9 months later. And I even took a picture of what I looked like the other morning on March 28th, right? To like kind of prove that this is a 9 months later in sustainability, right? And like I said, this was July 10th, right here, when I was at this right here, like pretty lean, won a couple bodybuilding trophies, and 9 months later, I'm still lean, I still feel good, I still have great energy, I'm eating a good amount of carbs, and like, I feel great, right? And now I have my dream body, which means that like to get there, I had to invest in myself, right? I had to have the correct inputs, I know how to track macros, I need to ask for help, right? I need to honestly just put my ego to the side and be like, I can't figure this out my own, and like, I'm tired of like trying and stuff that doesn't work, and I'm just tired of like looking and feeling like crap, right? But now like have more confidence, right? I have a better life, sustainable results. I'm a leader. Like I have almost over 50, 60 clients that I work with that actually trust me with their nutrition programs, and they're seeing amazing results. Like, I'm a leader because of the choice that I made to invest in myself and to take that leap of faith, right? And then I have less depression. I have better health. I have nutritional knowledge that I can share with other people, with my family members, with my future wife someday and my kids that I'm someday going to have, and I'm able to share the nutritional knowledge that I've learned through somebody else, right? And I have better dating. I look good and I feel good, and I have a great relationship with food, as opposed to like where I was at right here, where like my relationship with food was terrible. Like, I honestly like put myself in the position where I actually had like an eating disorder, where I have a binge eating disorder because I got so lean and starved myself for so long that I just absolutely shot on my hormones and, had a terrible eating disorder, right? So the thing is, what I'm trying to tell you guys is that like these one size fits all programs, like low carb, like keto, like intermediate fasting, like is great for these guys. It's great for the beginners, but for the financially stable men who are like serious about getting in the best shape of their life, and have great habits and like have great motivation and can follow a plan, like you're right here, right? You're a little bit more advanced than a beginner. Okay. So like, for instance, like the information that you probably have like 80% of it. You probably have 80% of the information figured out. You probably have 80% of what you're doing figured out, but that 20% will keep you back. Like, it took me 3 years to make, to be honest, a 5-month transformation. Right? And so like, even like, I always tell people like, yeah, this transformation on paper took me 5 months, but almost took me 4 years to actually learn to do it the correct way. Right? And you know what I wish I would have done from like day one? It's just got the correct guidance and the correct inputs in the first place and made this 5-month transformation right here instead of drawing it out to 4.5 years, right? It's like, because like at the end of the day, like, can you imagine like if in just, 6 months you could have the body you always dreamed of? And you didn't have to worry about like if you're doing the right thing. You didn't have to worry about another unsustainable diet, and like you woke up every single day with absolute clarity that all you had to do was follow a plan and put your inputs in, and you see progress like pretty fast because you had the correct inputs and the correct guidance. Like, because I said, like, the correct inputs, the correct outputs follow naturally, right? They follow very naturally, right? But you could have 80% of it figured out for most of your life, and you owe it to yourself to have that dream body and to have the body that you always dreamed of, especially with the amount of work and amount of effort that you're putting in right now, right? Because, like I said, you're right here, right? And the only thing holding you back is this right here, the correct guides and the correct inputs, right? So kind of like high level overview of like kind of what we covered today is like, one, we talked a little bit about, doing like too much cardio, right? Not tracking calories. So we talked about, one, not tracking your calories, not knowing what macronutrients to hit, not knowing exactly what macronutrients you need to hit for you. And like, you're not alone. There's a ton of people out there that are exactly doing that. But I would love to help you figure that out, right? And to really dial that in. 2, you're doing way too much cardio and you're eating way too low amounts of food, right? You are starving yourself. You hate the way you look. You're skinny fat. And at the end of the day, it's just not sustainable progress. You do the same thing every single year, every couple months, and like you lose a little bit of weight, look okay for a little bit, then you bounce right back, right? So my metabolic priming blueprint is like designed for that, right? To get you out of metabolic priming phase, raise your calories in the metabolic priming process, and then like for instance, if you do want to go in a fat loss phase after you go into metabolic priming process, and like I have a lot of clients that don't, like that are just okay with not like even going to actual fat loss phase because we grew them into their skin, got them looking tighter, got them looking leaner by getting more calories, and then they're just okay with that, right? And so that's why like this nutrition metric is like such a proven and predictable way of losing body fat, because one, it's worked for many other people in the past, it's worked for me, but it's an actual plan to follow and it's an actual structure. So you don't have like really have to wonder which direction to go. It's just like a fork in the road. Like if this happens, we do this, right? Having a plan of action when we hit a plateau is super important. So like for instance, like in the metabolic priming phase, if you do want to go into a fat loss phase, right, we get your calories up. So say that now, like let's say for instance, now you're at 4,000 calories. Sorry, you're doing no cardio, right? But now your BMR is way up here, right? So your body's in burning a maximum amount of energy right now. And you're eating a lot of food. So now, since we still have zero cardio and we have 4,000 calories, now we can start bringing these back down. Now we can start raising the cardio, right? And now we can make sure that this BMR right here stays intact through the fat loss phase, right? Which is exactly why we use my metabolic priming blueprint in that, right? So like for once we go typically 8 to 12 weeks, depending on how much your body like needs and how much your body can absorb and how much your body can adapt to the higher amounts of foods and burn more foods. I mean, the higher the better, right? Now that you're in a metabolic priming phase, you got more calories, you're doing no cardio, your BMR is high. Then you go into a fat loss phase, which means you just drop the calories just a tad. You add just a tad of cardio, right? And then your weight freezes, okay, add a lower calories. You got a crap ton to work with. We worked them up. We've been doing no cardio, and we've been eating a bunch of calories. And then, it works, go back in the fat loss phase. When weight freezes, we add our lower calories. It doesn't work, and our weight becomes stagnant. Do a structured refeed, right? So we get a structured refeed in there, which is going to boost your metabolism, keep your metabolism intact, and going to keep your metabolic structure intact as well. And I guide each one of my clients through this by giving them correct macronutrients week by week to actually help them. And they literally just wake up with absolute clarity that this is exactly what they need to do to follow this plan and to see great progress. They just literally tell me what they want to do, and I help them do it. It's like honestly extremely simple, right? So then you go into a structured refeed back into a fat loss phase, and let's say that we get you pretty low on calories again, and now we're back down to 2,200 calories. We're doing 50 minutes cardio. Your BMR is still intact, but it's a little bit lower. But we can't really lower the calories anymore, right? We're getting to the point where we're kind of getting detrimental to our hormones. You know what we do? We go literally right back in the metabolic priming phase and then start the whole process all over again, right? So people you see on social media, the guys that are absolutely ripped, absolutely shredded, just look like that paper skin thin. This is what they're doing, right? They're planning ahead. They're making a plan for their fat loss phase instead of just jumping into something and having incredible impatience, right? They're making a plan for fat loss so they know how to do it correctly and so they can see sustainable progress, right? So, like I said, for my client Devin, he's in his second metabolic priming phase, right? We dropped his calories pretty low, worked him back up in his metabolic priming phase, and now he's at 3,000 calories, and he started at eating 1,500, and this is what he looks like right here, right? Much leaner, less bloating, better digestion, and he's feeling handsome as ever. I've been getting hit on dating sites, right? So with that being said, let's say for instance that you get pretty low on calories and you love the way you look. You're right at your dream body, which is kind of where I was at up here. I love the way I look, and this is kind of how I created sustainability. So let's say that, for instance, you go into the fat loss phase, you get pretty low on calories, and then you work your body up in the metabolic priming phase where you get somewhere where it's comfortable and sustainable, right? So my physique that you've seen up there, I'm eating 3,300 calories, 350 grams of carbs, and I can go out to eat with my friends and not worry about waking up the next day a little bit up in weight, right? I don't have to worry about being scared of carbs. I can eat as many carbs as I want. And at the end of the day, too, I feel much better, right? I have more sustainability. I have more flexibility because, within my program, I teach my clients flexible dieting, which means we don't restrict ourselves to certain food groups. We just track macronutrients, which means that every food that you ever see, not even donuts, pizza, all that stuff, it has macronutrients in it. So as long as you track it and at the end of the day hit your certain macronutrients, you're fine. Obviously, within my clients, I try to mitigate them eating donuts and pizza, but what I'm saying is that once you understand how to track macronutrients, you'll be able to create sustainability and a sustainable lifestyle, right? And so let's say that, for instance, we do get you back up to sustainable weight, kind of where I'm at, where I'm comfortable, where I'm at, I look good, I feel good, I can go out to eat with my friends, I can take my shirt off at the pool, I can go work out and get a great pump, and then I want to stay there, right? So we just work your calories up to metabolic priming phase, get you at a stable range where you're not hungry and you have a good physique and you're happy with the way you look, and then boom, we go to our goal physique, which means we just keep you right there, keep you sustaining that, and we keep you just sitting there and being able to create sustainability, right? And client end date, now you have better health, sustainable results, you have nutritional knowledge, you have more confidence, you have better dating, your longevity is better, you have discipline, you look good and you feel good, and then you have a client testimonial. Say Coach Adam's program was one of the best things that ever happened to me because, it actually gave me sustainable results instead of following a one-size-fits-all keto program that I tried for the last 3 years, right? So at the end of the day, you guys have two options, right? To be honest, you have two options. One, you can go back to doing exactly what you're doing and what hasn't worked in the past and what hasn't worked in the last 5 to 10 years for you, and you keep trying the same diets that you have been and keep hating yourself, hating the way you look, keep showing up at pool parties with your shirt on. Or like you could simply just sign up for a time down below and I'll literally tell you exactly what you need, right? Like, can't you imagine like going to the pool parties and like taking your shirt off? Can't you imagine like the better energy you would feel and have if you look better and you feel better, and how much better your financial situation would be at work if you had better confidence and better energy, how much better your relationship with your wife and with your children would be. And like at the end of the day, it's your job as a man, as a financially stable man, is to teach your wife, teach your kids these stuff someday, and to actually give them the nutritional knowledge they need to live a better, healthier lifestyle. So this is stuff that you need to learn, all right? This is stuff that you really need to learn to like create the life that you want to live, and you owe it to yourself to learn it, because this stuff about nutrition, like, it'll take you a very long way with anything that you want to do. And once you get the correct information, once you know how to do it once, and once you realize how your body utilizes macronutrients on a very specific basis, you can do it the rest of your life. You can teach it to other people, right? You can do it again. You can go through a metabolic priming phase. You can cut your calories. You can have incredible control over your body, right? Because the best thing about it out there is when you have good control over your body, because so many people out there right now have little to no control over their body, over the way they look, and that's why they're stuck and they're depressed, right? And having incredible control over the outcome of how you look is not only your duty as a person, but your duty as a man and a father and a husband, right? So at the end of the day, you have two options, right? You can, one, go back and you can keep doing what you're doing, right? Try the low carb. You can try the keto. You can try the intermediate fasting, right? You can try tons of cardio. You can try the same things you have in the past, or you can simply just sign up for a time below and we'll get you going like ASAP, like tomorrow. And you can actually start waking up with absolute clarity that you're making good progress, right? And maybe you will figure it out eventually. I'll play devil's advocate. Like, maybe eventually you do figure it out, right? But like you waste, like me, 3 to 5 years in the process of trying to get there, and you tried everything in the past, and you finally get there, and you realize it was just something like that last 20% of how to track macronutrients, how to get the correct macronutrients your body needs, maybe even the correct accountability from somebody else to actually like make good progress. Right? Because having accountability is like super, super important with doing this kind of stuff, is because like once you invest in yourself, you buy into yourself, right? Because people pay to pay attention, right? People pay to pay attention, and when you do, like, they get very committed, right? Like buying a new car. When you spend that new car, you feel like obligated to drive it, right? And the same thing is like when investing in yourself and in information. Once you invest in information, like, you're more inclined to want to do it, and more inclined to want to stay on plan. Right? And so that's, why, trading your time for money is like super important, right? Because you can pay for things in two ways. You can pay for the information about how to get your body in two ways. You can pay it for, one, in time, right here, time. Or two, you can just pay somebody like myself, and I'll literally tell you exactly what you need step by step to get there. You can literally wake up with absolute clarity that you're making the right progress, and you can see progress tomorrow, and you can feel much better, and you can be happier with your life, right? So like I said, at the end of the day, it's up to you guys, what choices that you want to make and your overall goals with yourself. But like you owe it, like I said, you owe it to yourself to like get your dream body and to actually like see what your life would be like when you're at the top level of nutrition, right? So I would absolutely love to help you make that happen. It would make me so happy to actually help you make that happen. So go ahead and sign up for a time down below, and let's jump on a call and let's get you going.